Hello everyone, welcome to the introduction of SAP Security course. This course is mainly focusing on SAP Security perspective. The target audience for this course is SAP Basis Consultant, Authorization Consultant, meaning the consultant who will be developing SAP authorization concepts as well as the technical developments, user administrators, and security consultant, and internal as well as external auditors. In the perspective of internal external auditors, the course also covers all the auditing perspective, how to approach an audit in an SAP system, and the technical details related to audit information system, and the business solution and integration managers. The business solution managers like to provide an SAP solutions, how to approach the designing an SAP authorization concept. These are all the target audience for this SAP security course. The goals and objective of this particular course, we will be covering all SAP authorization concept and roles and profile maintenance and user administration. How does the user administration works, how to administrate users in SAP system, as well as license management. Also we will be discussing in this topic, and central user administration, how to set up central user administration, what is the advantages and disadvantages we will be having in central user administration, what is the technology behind the CUA also will be covered in detail. And this of course also will cover the upgrade steps, because it is very important that all the audience which we discussed in a security perspective, SAP security plays a key role during the SAP upgrade. And maintaining critical authorization, how to maintain critical authorization, we will also discuss about how we can monitor this critical authorization. We will be focusing on the main critical authorization, what is the main critical authorization, what is the criticality behind this critical authorizations, and we will also discuss what the tool which SAP provide, the standard SAP tool, how can we use these kind of tools to monitor the critical authorizations. We will also discuss about audit and security. The objective and the goal of this course is not only related to authorization as well as user administration. We will cover the entire audit perspective, audit log, and how to read the audit log, how can we set up an audit log, what are all the controls we can have in SAP system by means of parameters as well as the system settings, as well as the security perspective. We will also see in detail how to analyze SAP authorization issues and how we can fix these kind of issues. Let's see the content of this course to understand the entire overview of what we will be covering in this course. In the first session we will be having an introduction about SAP NetViewer fundamentals. In this fundamentals we will be covering overview of SAP R3 and SAP GUI configuration and SAP logon screen, an internal screen in SAP system, what are all the screens and how we can use the screens, maintaining your user profile, favorite list and user menu, calling functions and additional navigation options whatever available in SAP GUI, and processing user request, SAP server database interface, SAP server processes, SAP client structure, landscape, as well as remote function call, that is RFCs. We will cover the total SAP NetViewer fundamentals in the context of SAP security. We will cover the basic requirement for navigating the whole SAP system, as well as what is the architecture behind the SAP system. Subjective of this particular section is to help the beginners of SAP who want to use this specific course to become SAP security consultant. The second topic we will be discussing about SAP authorizations. In the SAP authorization we will be discussing about why do we require SAP authorizations, and we will also discuss SAP security overview, SAP access control, user roles and authorizations, and SAP implementation of roles, user specific menus. So which we also seen in our previous one, this we will see in detail. And we will see the authorization concept implementation. This topic is quite important for the people who will design an SAP authorization concept. For a security consultant as well as basis consultant, this topic also very important for integration manager and business owners to understand how to design an SAP authorization concept. This is generally a issue. If the concept which we design in SAP authorization, if this does not match with the business requirement in the long run, then it can be a problem. So we need to understand the concept very clear. So in this section we will be discussing about SAP authorization concept implementation, the topics like implementation methods and authorization, and we will cover roles and authorization concept. First step will be the preparation. In the preparation steps we will be discussing about technical concept and role implementation. So this includes many steps. The first step is preparation. In this preparation steps, we will be discussing about team members for roles and authorization. Who are all the parties we can include in our authorization concept design, and which are all the expertise we need to consolidate this SAP authorization concept. In this step 2, we will be discussing about technical concept on role implementation, and we will also discuss about analysis, how to determine the roles for users. We'll also discuss about user roles, and we will also discuss about technical concepts like role implementation. That is in step 2. The step 3, we will be discussing about implementation concept, how to implement this design what we have created. And step 4, we will also discuss about quality assurance and testing. And step 5, we will discuss about how to carve out, and maintaining of users and authorization also will be covered in this topic. The next topic will be fundamentals of SAP authorization. In the SAP authorization elements, what are all the elements we have in SAP authorizations, like the elements of SAP authorization concept, fields, objects and object class, authorization level, and authorizations and authorization profiles, creating role using PFCG. And the next topic will be authorization check process. How does this authorization check process works? That means the topics like authorization checks at transaction start, authorization check in program, and what is user buffer, and how the user buffer will be used for security perspective. Next topic is again a main topic. We will be discussing about SAP User Master and creating and maintaining User Master. This is a very important topic for the people who is doing user administration as well as the security consultant. Also it is important for auditors to understand the whole user administration concept. We will be going to each tabs in SAP SU01 and discuss each tab, each fields in details like address, logon data. Then we will also discuss what is in user type in detail, defaults, parameters, roles, profiles, groups, personalization and license data. And we will also discuss user mass maintenance. How can we create mass users? The next topic we will be discussing about role maintenance. The first topic in role maintenance will be PFCG profile generator. In PFCG profile generator, we will be discussing about role names and description, role menu, role authorization data, then authorization profile, user assignment and user master comparison. So we will see how does this role menu is linked to authorization data. Otherwise, if the role menu is not maintained, how can we use the other functionalities of maintaining the authorization manually within the PFCG? This will be covered in detail in this particular session. And next one is composite role, how the composite roles helps the user assignments, as well as how to create composite role and how we can manage the composite role menu, which is also will be an important topic in this particular section. Next section will be master roles and derived roles. how to create a master role, how to create a derived role from master role, what is the benefit. We will also do an comparison of individual role creation from a master role which will not have a dependency of the role which you have copied from, and we will also see an example how to create a derived role which will have a dependency, and we will also see the advantages of these concepts. And we will also discuss the menu concept in the derived role, how we can use the menu in derived role, because the menu in the roles also quite important when we are creating different kind of roles in different concepts. So we need to understand the concepts, how the menu works if you combine these kind of roles. So it is very important. We will also discuss this in detail in these topics. And authorization maintenance, that after creating the role, the traffic lights, when you go inside the role, you will have a lot of traffic lights which shows red, yellow, green. How to identify these traffic lights and how we can use these traffic lights in our practical scenario to ease our job as a security consultant or a basis consultant, in order to make the security concept or the roles which you are creating is consistent and perfect based on the business requirement. The next topic we will be discussing about authorization development. In authorization development, we will be discussing about end user role development. That means naming convention, single roles, and awk level sets. And we will also discussing about user administration on 4i principle, the user administration and 8i principle, and how we can implement this 4i principle and 8i principle. Normally, as a security administrator or a basis consultant, we believe user administration and the role administration is one part of our job, but this is a very important key role in any SAP implementation. So we will be discussing about how we can implement and how we can create a segregation of duties or this 4i principle or 8i principle within this particular job function of profile maintenance as well as the user administration. The next topic we will be discussing about administrative settings, setting of role maintenance and profile generation, PFCG default values, the default tables, and how to adjust the check indicators. And we will also discuss about ST22 default checks. Then the next step will be discussing about SAP upgrade steps, what all the upgrade steps and how this SAP upgrade steps you can use during your upgrade process. Then we will also discuss about the alternative approach if you don't want to use the standard SAP upgrade steps because of some technical reasons, and the alternative approach will be how we can use the standard profiles like SAP new, and how can we identify this, how can we use this one, what is the use of this profile. Also we will see this in detail. Next topic we will be discussing about access control administration. In this we will be discussing about profile parameters and password rules and password checks with system profile parameters, and also we will be discussing about special users. The next very important topic is analyzing of authorization issues. We will see in detail how to analyze the authorization check SU53 and how to use the authorization trace ST01, how we can identify the issues and how we can verify these issues and how we can solve these authorization issues. We will see that issue handling very detailed. The next topic in this course will be SAP HCM Security. As you may know, SAP's HR is a one important topic in security, SAP Security. Because of the nature of this module, this is a very sensitive module on security perspectives. In this topic we will be seeing the introduction about SAP HR, what is the SAP HR, and it is very important that we understand how does the SAP HR data are being saved in SAP system, so that we can identify the issues in SAP HR very easily. So we will see the basics of SAP HR, and we will see what is info type, and we will also see some of the HR transaction code, how to use them, and Then next topic we will be discussing about HR authorization concept, then HR authorization objects. We do not have many HR authorization objects, it's quite a few HR authorization objects. In general, we will not learn all authorization object in SAP system because there is thousands of authorization object. It's very hard to remember each authorization objects. However, in SAP HR we have quite a few authorization object which needs to be remembered and understood very clearly in order to develop an authorization concept for HR. So we will go through each HR objects and we will discuss in detail, and we will also discuss about how the HR data are being saved and protected, and we will see HR security in authorization switch and how can we switch the extended authorization on a customizing perspective, and HR authorization fields, what are all the fields within these objects, and we will also see the objects like difference between the old objects as well as new object like POGIN versus POGIN con. The POGIN con is a new object which is introduced in ECC, and the POGIN is an old object. So how this is being interlinked, how we can use this both, and how we can migrate it. So we will see this the difference between these two. You will be able to come to some conclusion how we can use these objects. And we will also see the object called pburner is one of the famous object in SAP. Pburner works in a different concept than the other objects, so we will see how the pburner can be used in SAP authorization, as well as we will see another objects like P application, P log. These are all the different HR authorization objects. We will also see the usage of these particular authorization objects. The next topic in HR will be structural authorization. In the structural authorization we will see how the structural authorization is defined, how we can use this structural authorization in SAP security. Then we will also see something called indirect role assignment. This is a different concept in SAP for the user administration and role administration. This concept is used based on the HR organization module. So we will see how we can use this concept using HR organization module to do role assignment and for user provisioning. The next topic we will be discussing about transporting of authorization. This is also very important whenever we do any role changes in the SAP system, that we need to handle these changes going from development system to productive system. So we will understand how the SAP transport works, how to create a transport request as a developer, as a security consultant or an authorization consultant. When you develop a role, then we need to know how to create this transport request, what are all the options we have to create this transport request. And we will also see download and upload of roles. Let's say if you wanted to, instead of creating a transport request, you wanted to send it to some different system, then we have different options like downloading and uploading roles, and we will also see how does this works, and mass downloads and mass uploads, mass transport. If you are creating quite a number of roles, then how can you do mass transport, mass upload, and mass profile generation, mass comparison, and transport of user master records, like how we can transport a huge amount of user master from one system to another system using client copy. This also we will see in detail. And the next topic will be authorization concept in transport handling, because transport handling is also one of the important tasks in your entire SAP landscape. In the transport handling, we will not be focusing only on productive system, we will be focusing on from development cycle till it goes live. So how we can transport the TRs, what are all the authorization objects technically within this transport management concept. So we will also see how to create an authorization concept for the development, quality as well as productive system. Then we will be discussing about interface and special authorization, because the interface is an critical authorization which we need to understand RFCs, remote function calls, and how does the authorization of RFCs works and what are all the objects related to this RFC and how we can create an RFC role. Since this is a more technical in detail, we will go in detail how we can identify these objects, how we can create a role for RFCs. And we will also see special authorization like table maintenance, how we can maintain the tables, how we can restrict, what are all the objects related to this one. And we will also discuss about cross-client tables, cross-client table maintenance. We will discuss about table authorization for organization units within this table. So some entries we can control using this authorization concept, how we can do this one. Then creating authorization groups for tables. And we will also see in detail what is the authorization concept behind background jobs, how we can manage these background jobs, spools, users as well as roles. And we also see the BDC sessions, that is the batch input sections, and ABAP workbench, what is the authorization objects which related to ABAP workbench, what is the criticality of these special authorization objects when we assign this authorization object to any users in the productive system. So this will be a very interesting and very informative topic. And the next topic we will be discussing about custom authorization objects. So whenever you create a new program or a new authorization object, how we can use this one, this we will see in this topic. And we will also discuss about call transaction, SM97. So this is a very interesting topic. So how can we control the authorization of the called program will be discussed in this topic. The next topic is again a very interesting topic, which is central user administration in a bigger landscape, in a bigger system. How we can administrate all the system from one central system, how to set up, what is the advantage and disadvantage in central user administration and decentralized user administration. We will also discuss about yearly data distribution, how does the data distribution happens, how to set up this yearly data distribution. We will see in detail how to create a CUA system. Then we will discuss about how to define the distribution model, distribution field selection, and integration of existing system. And we will discuss about copying user master record from old system to the new system. And we will also discuss about central user maintenance, how we can maintain. We will also see the whole detail from advantages from disadvantages till setting up the CUA system. And then we will be discussing about SAP Audit Information System. This is mainly used for auditors, the purpose of the Audit Information System. And we will also discuss about the tools which is available inside this Audit Information System. Basically this is a set of reports which exists in SAP system, how it is organized in AIS, which is Audit Information System, and how the environment works. And we will also see the major components in here and how we can use this Audit Information System. The next and important topic will be security audit logs. In this topic we will be discussing about introduction about the security audit log architecture, how this audit log been designed, because it is very important to understand how it works in the backend system, that means in the SAP server. As I mentioned earlier, the course is not only catering to role development and user administration. This we will be seeing the entire SAP authorization and security as a whole, as an SAP security. So we will discuss about the audit files and audit records, then instant parameters, what are the parameters related to audit logs, and how we can enable audit log, how to configure the security audit log filters. And we will see audit profiles and dynamic filters and defining the filters. And we will see audit analysis, how to analyze an audit log, which is a very important topic. We need to understand how the audit log is being generated, then we can analyze it very easy. We will see that in detail in this session. And we will see the reading of audit log reports, and we will also see how to delete this audit log once we think that this audit log is not in use anymore, then how we can delete it or how we can archive it. Then the next topic we will be discussing about CCM alert. The CCM alert is a tool which is already available in SAP system. How we can use the CCM alert for our security monitoring purpose, that we will be discussing in detail section. Then we will be discussing about activity log. Apart from the audit log, what are all the other logs which is available in SAP system which we can use it for our security perspective. Logging of specific activities, application logging, for example logging of workflow execution, change document, changes of tables, changes made using transport system, changes in users as well as authorization, logging of HR report, and we will also see the menu path which is available in audit information system for this topic. And the next section we will be discussing about SAP Security Optimization. Here we will be discussing about user monitoring and reporting. How can we use the user information system, user IDs and initial passwords, and we will discuss about segregation of duty, what is segregation of duty, what is the use of segregation of duties, and we will also discuss about very important topic, critical transaction and critical combinations. We have an SAP standard tool, how we can use this standard tool to monitor critical authorization and critical combination, how to analyze this result from this specific tool. We will also see this in the system. We will also see the concept behind this, and we will also see how to configure these tools in the system. The next topic which we will be discussing about is securing user and password. How can we secure the user and password? This topic we will be discussing about password expiration policies, what are all the parameters we can use for password checks, parameters we can use it for multiple logon, parameters which is used for incorrect logon, parameters used for limited validity of initial password, parameter used for turn off password logon, which are all related to SAP security. We will see that in detail in this particular session. Then the next section we will be discussing about how to secure the productive system. For example, client change options and client specific options, and how to configure the development client and the sandbox client. The next topic we will be discussing about secure network communication, SNC, overview of SNC, how we can configure the cryptographic library as well as installing SAP cryptographic library, parameters which is related to SNC, and how we can configure the SAP GUI for SNC after implementing SNC in your SAP system. These are all the topics we will be covering in this course, the entire course, which covers all the aspects related to SAP security. Let's see some example what we cover in this topic. The example which we will be seeing now is for SAP role management. In this role management we are discussing about master role and derive role. We see in our system how to create an independent role, how to create an dependent derive roles. The idea behind this master role and derive role is that you create one role called master role or template role, then you roll it out to different derive role with the same authorization objects but with the different organization levels. Means each master role will be linked to the derive role, or we can say that each derive role is linked to one master role. So whatever the authorization object which will be present in the master role will be also available in the derive role. The difference from master role and derive role, that in the derive role we will be using organization levels. That means the specific organization levels for that particular derived role. So organization levels from one derived role to another derived role which is linked to the master role will differ. However, the authorization object or the concept will remain the same. That is the advantage of master role and derived role. Meaning, if we have an authorization objects, a collection of authorization objects which we have developed for a specific function or a position, which will have quite a lot of objects. This will remain same for each derived role. The difference is only the organization levels. Meaning the organization level in our example we set 1,000 and 2,000 and 3,000 with the different company codes. This will have different organization levels. For example, this organization level company code 2,000 will have a different sales org, will have a different purchase organization, and it will have a different cost center as well as profit centers. Like this, you can have different organization levels for each derived role. The advantage is, as I said, that once you define the master role, then you can roll it out the same concept with the same authorization objects to a different company codes or different organization levels. Maybe you are using only one company code, but you may have multiple sales organization or multiple purchase organization or multiple plans, for example, or multiple cost centers, which you wanted to use the same roles with the same authorization objects but at different org levels. Org level means all the organization levels, which basically the company code and profit center and cost center, which is based on our business process, what we customize in our SAP system. It does not mean that we can copy and we can create a individual roles with a different organization level. We can also do that. That will be independent role which will have different organization level. We will also see that in our system, that when we are creating the roles, first we will create with as an independent role, then we will create as a master role or derived role. Independent role also have its own advantage. The advantage is that independent role, if you wanted to have different authorization level, if you wanted to change authorization objects a little bit from one business unit or one organization or one company to a different company, then you can individually do this. But the problem is that it will not be consistent. Let's say if it is a very small organization, you have a quite few, less than 100 users, but it may not be quite feasible. If you see a cost benefit of this authorization concept, it may not be a quite feasible if you have a master role and derived role concept and design this concept. Then it may be feasible for you to create an independent role, maybe a copy which is created from this master role, and assign this organization level independently. That also possible. That case also we can have one role as a reference role, and we can copy this reference role to new roles, and we can assign the organization level. So it's also possible. Yeah, that also has lot of advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage in that case is that you need to create these roles quite number of times. The time consumption is quite higher in that case. But if you have a quite a lot of different organization levels, then the master role and derived role will reduce the time consumption in the initial setup, as well as it will be very easy for your maintenance in the future. So, but designing the concept itself it will take time. That we can consider is one of the disadvantage. But if you change anything directly in the derived role, which will have an inconsistency in the master role and derived role concept. But in the individual roles, when you create with the different organization levels, then it will have like it has an advantage. If you want to have a small changes between the organization level, you can change it in the same role itself, and maybe you can document it properly, then it will not be a big issue. But that may not be possible, but technically it is still possible in the master role derived role concept. But if you do that kind of changes, that will create a inconsistency in this master role derived role. In that case, that if you want a different organization wants a different concept, whether you need to create a new role or you need to create a role which will have only the differences or only the addition which you would like to include. But if it is a removal again, then you need to create a new role. So that's little bit of positives and negatives. If you know both of the concept, then you will be the best judge to come to a conclusion which will be the best approach for your implementation. Let's look into our system, then you will understand the whole concept behind this derived role and master role concept. To make our exercise quite easy, I already created the data which we may require. So we have two different set of organization levels. First one is for the sales organization 000, and the second one is for the sales organization 1020 and 1030. This one is in Frankfurt, this one is in Berlin and Hamburg. Both of them belong to same company code 1000, which is in Germany, Frankfurt. It has a warehouse number is same, as well as the division also same. They are doing the same kind of business, for let's assume. But the sales organization is different. So this company have same code 1000 sales organization, which is also in Germany, Frankfurt, but it has to another sales organization 1020, which is in Germany, Berlin. Another one is in sales organization which is in Germany, Hamburg. Then the distribution channel in Frankfurt, what they are doing is final customer sale for the end customer, and in Berlin and Hamburg, what they are doing is they are doing resale. But they have different plant. They also have a plant in both these locations. The first one is Berlin, which is CHP3 is a plant number, and here they have only in Hamburg, which has a plant 0005. So this is our organization levels. How do we get these inputs? This you will get it from your consultant, for example, maybe the project team or maybe the customer. Customer will be the best judge to tell you what kind of authorization required for this particular plant or particular location. You can also use change management, for example. They will have an entire overview of the whole company, then they can guide you with the organization levels. Or in general, how does it works is the key users will be the one who will give this input. Then there will be a project management team coming from the user side or the customer side. They can check these inputs whether it is correct or not. Then from that you can give it to the consultant, then the consultant can use these inputs. For this exercise, what I will be doing is I will be using an SAP standard role, so that we also know how does the SAP standard role is looking like, and we can foresee that what we can use it from the SAP standard role. So what I took is I took a small role called SD information display, and we will be using this role for our training purpose. So let's see in our system. So this is our role. The first one, what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a independent role for these organization levels. Let's go to PFCG. let's go to our SAP role. This is created for display customer and material information, which has a menu, display customer and material information, and these are the transaction code which we will be using in this role. Let's check the authorization tab. This is created by SAP. So we will not be doing any changes and we will not be using this SAP role. As you know, it is not recommended to use the SAP role as it is. So we will copy this one to our namespace. In the first case, let's assume that this is our template role, so we do not need to create a additional template role. So we will be copying it from this role itself. So let's create it for the first organization level. Make it like this, then say here. So to copy that, to copy a role, we simply click this button, then you will have a pop-up like this. In this pop-up you have two options. We have copy all and copy selectively. If you select copy selectively, then you can select some like users you want to copy or don't want to copy. Like this, you will get a selection screen. There you can select all the options. In our case, we are just copying from SAP standard, so we copy everything, authorization, menu, whatever it is available. So in the role which we are copying is we already defined. This is in our namespace, and we say info, then 1000 is our organization levels name. 1000 I took it from the sales organization. So we are differentiating the derived role by the sales organization. Okay, then I will say copy all. Okay, right now what we did, we copied the entire role to a new role, new single role. Let's go to the change mode and see we have the menu which is copied from the original role from SAP as it is. Then we have authorization. So far we did not create the profile. Then we go to change authorization data. Okay, now we can see we have only one green traffic light and we have yellow and red traffic lights. Let's go to the yellow traffic light first. Okay, we have something called authorization for classification. First thing is, as you said, as we discussed before, that we need to know each and every object. Why are we adding? That does not mean that you need to remember each and every object. You cannot remember each and every object. We just need to understand what this authorization object is doing in this context, in this particular role. That's what we need to know. We don't need to remember each and every object. We will remember some object, in fact some critical objects. What we can do with that, we will come to that topic later. That is the one we will remember in practical sense, that once you are started using the system and started developing, you will automatically keep remembering these authorization objects. So in my case right now, how I am going to come to a conclusion. First thing is, I don't know what is this authorization object is going to do. We have quite number of authorization object. Let me take this one. So I wanted to know what is this guy is going to do. I'll select this one and say press F1. This should give me some SAP help. This says this classification authorization maintained in, this is the object. This controls the authorization of users to maintain a class. So they can create the class, display the class, or delete the class. Okay, so here what this authorization object can do, if we are using authorization group in your document, then we can use this field. When you are creating any document in your functional, that you can create an authorization group, and we can assign this authorization group to a specific document type, or we can use this for a specific document type. So you can control your authorization by this document type. Let's say if the controls, or if the authorization which we have already in the business transaction, if it is not enough, then we can use this additional authorization object. This is again, if the functional use this authorization group, then we will be using it. So this input will come to you from functional team, that they are using authorization group, then we need to restrict this particular authorization group for this set of people. For this set of people, this should be assigned. So in our case, let's make it quite simple. In our case, we are talking about a display authorization. Yeah, so how will I come to a conclusion that it's again a display authorization? And secondly, when I will go back and see this organization levels, if this is coming anything from this organization level, classification of authorization group is nothing to do with our organization level. So I will consider this is not very critical, and on top of it we are assigning 03. So I will say fine. I will check with my functional consultant whether are we using any authorization group in our documents. They say no, then I will put star. Same like this, I will put star everywhere. So if, let's say, if I don't know this one, I can also click this and say F1, then it gives you the definition of only that particular field. Yeah, this says determine whether a user is allowed to assign authorization object to this class. So then this class, anyway we don't use it, simply we say star. On top of it we are just talking about activity 03, so it's not so critical. Then I will say star everywhere, and we made it green. The next one is fine, only one, we have one yellow, then we have put star here. And condition, again maintain condition for authorization, for application and table. I'll put it star, anyway it's display. Then the document management, here also I'll put star because we are again talking about only display. On the red, if you see, then we have everywhere defined as dollar values, all the organization values. That means we still need to define this one. First let's finish all the non-org issues, then we'll come to that one later. Authorization group is fine, this is green, say red, let me make it faster. Here activity seems to be an issue, so I don't want to put star there. I want only 03, so it's fine. So we got a typical very good example here. See, we got activity which is blank, which is coming from one of the transaction code from the menu. That means in SU24, the requirement which is defined in SU24, this activity was blank. That's the reason we got it blank. So simply don't click star. and we need to check. That means it was a definition issue which was coming from SU24. So SAP definition in SU24 also not so perfect. This authorization, again, it is very well defined, but the SAP defined it so nicely how to use each and every authorization object in very detail, but they do not restrict you or how to use it. That using it's based on our imagination and our business needs. So we have to check each and every objects. So in our case it's fine. Now we finished all the yellow traffic lights. Let's go to our red traffic lights. Red traffic lights is basically coming from the organization level. So in our case we simply add these organization levels and say company code is 1000, warehouse was star, then the division, there was a couple of divisions, zero 0001 02 04 06 00 01 02 04 and 06. Okay, we have 1 2 3 4 5 different values. Now here you have from and to. This you can use it wherever it's possible. For example, in our case we have 00 01 and 02. This come in a sequence. So if I say 00 to 02 here, then I can take out this one, I can take out this one. Yeah, so that means 00 01 02, it's all valid. So wherever it is possible, please use the from to option, because this will reduce or this will shrink the objects which you are using in your profile. That means the profile size is going to reduce. So number of characters, which is, this profile is based on the number of characters which you may be using in your authorization objects. So reduce as much as possible. Don't build up so many authorization objects inside. This is not going to help you. Then our sales organization, our first org set is 1000 000, and distribution channel was 10. The plant CHP3. Okay, then I save this. As soon as I save this, then we got all the organization level sets what we have defined here got filled in our respective variables wherever it was defined, then all became green. Okay, okay, now I will save this, then it will create a profile and generate. Okay, now we created a role which is for the sales organization 1000. Now let's go back and create the next one. So Next one, maybe we can copy from here to the next one, maybe quite easy. Yeah, say copy all, then change. We have the same menu, authorization object, go to the change authorization data. So we almost got everything. Yeah, but we don't want to have the yellow traffic light again, so we copy it from there. So what we can do is we only need to change this organization levels. Here is again company code 1000, warehouse is star, then the division is same like before, 01 02 00 01 02 and 04 and 06. The sales org we have 1020 and 1030. What I will do is 1020 and 1030. We can also use this 1030 here, provided that you do not have a sales organization which is configured in between this. Okay, let's say you don't have a sales organization called 1021 and 1022 1023 up to 1029. If you do not have a sales organization, then we can put it like this. But the problem is that if you create in between a sales organization which has the number in between these two, then this user is going to get authorization for this sales organization. So if you are not sure, then let's make it like this. See, if it is in a sequential number, then we can use the from and to. If otherwise also we can use a from and to, provided there is no organization in between that. Some cases what we will do in a bigger implementation, each of these numbers also well defined. So if I wanted to create a sales organization, additional sales organization in this organization sets, let's say for example, let me make it more clear. In Berlin, I wanted to have multiple sales organization. Then in my definition of sales organization, it's a 102 0 to 29 will be Berlin, and 1030 to 39 will be Hamburg. In that case, the next sales organization which is going to come into Berlin will be 1021. Then we can put 10 star. During the time of your authorization development, you say 102 star, then it's for all Berlin. Then like this is again depends on how the customizing or the organization definition is defined. So in our case we will put it like 1020 1030. Why I am highlighting all these things, it's all practically very helpful when you are defining an authorization concept in a very big implementation. So you need to go and understand what is defined in an overall SAP implementation. You need to understand the overall SAP implementation, then you can define a well defined authorization concept. Then go to distribution channel 1 2 and 2, and this is 005. Okay, so this becomes so easy because we already cleared all the yellow traffic lights. Now let's create the profile and generate the profile. Okay, now we finished our first concept. Let's go to the next one, master role and derived role. The first one, what we did, we just simply copied a role for two different organization levels, then we filled in our organization level what we want. So this is very independent. So let's say if I want to add additional role only in this organization, only in this derived role, which is created for this organization, not a derived role, as a single role which we created for this organization, we can simply add it here, which will not affect here. That is the advantage, and we have a couple of other advantages. We will come to that again. Next, let's say how to create a master role and derived role. Let's see our second scenario, master role and derived role. For our second scenario, first what we have to do is we have to create a master role. For master role, we have a specific naming convention, that is at security, that's our namespace LOSD info M. When this is M, we identify this as a master role. XX means, this X means that it does not have any awk values, means the awk value is blank. And for the derived roles, we identify the derived role as D, then we know this is a derived role, awk value 1000, that for the sales awk 1000, and this is for the derived role for the sales awk 10XX, and it means 10 with leading with any other numeric values. So first let's create a master role. Okay, let's create now a system. Let's go to PFCG. Take our SAP standard role, and we will say again copy, put our master role name, copy selection. Let's try this option first. So in this option you get user assignment and personalization. Anyway, this does not have an user assignment. If you click also it's fine, it's same like copy all. Okay, now it is copied. Let's go to change option, have a look into the menu. This is fine. I would like to document this one. It is master role should not be assigned to user. Here also I will change the description, insert master. Okay, so once we see this master, that means we know this is a master role and we should not assign to any users. Even though if you assign, it does not going to make any sense. Let's go to change authorization data. Yes. Okay, we already seen how to identify this yellow traffic lights. Let me quickly make all green. Okay, now these are all green and red. Red means the organization levels are which is not assigned. Say for example here BUKRS, and we want this to be as variable as it is. So we should not have any values. Let me make this star. Possibly we need to check all the red also. Maybe we will have some yellow here, same like here. If you keep it like this, then you will find in the derived role as yellow. Okay, let me keep one like this, then we will see what happens. Okay, and all the organization levels, values which are related to organization level should be red. Yeah, should be red and should have this variable. Okay, for our testing purpose, I just left some yellow as it is. Let's assume I did not check it clearly, so I left it like this and say everything is fine. Now I create a master role, so I say save, then we will create the profile, then we generate this profile. Okay, generate. So when you generate this profile, you can see the open org level set exists. There are open authorization. So if you generate it like this, it's fine. If you go to maintenance and you can maintain, we simply say generate. It's fine. We know this. That means in the normal scenario that it gives you a message that this org levels values are not maintained. So this is our master role. So we created a master role. Now we need to create a derived role. How to create a derived role? To create the derived role, we already defined what is our derived role, right? You go to copy this derived role, go to create option. Yeah, this is our first derived role. We say single role which we are going to create. Then we have an option here, inheritance, transaction inheritance. That means it is inheriting this role from somewhere else. So derived from, so you can select by using this option. So I'll put my master role here. This is my master role. And select this. Otherwise you can directly type in here and plus, and then it will also bring the master role. So let me put the master role here because I know already this is existing. Say OK. Say click enter. Then we get this pop-up message, importing role. Do you want to enter the specified role as the importing role? That means as a inheritance role. Okay, the reason why this is giving you a message, because this is now linked each other. That's the reason it's giving you the message. Say yes. Want to save the role first? Yes. It's a standard message in PFCG. Now this is the role, this is the derived role, this is the master role. So we the derived from the role. So this particular role is derived from here. So if you want to delete the inheritance, you can still delete it here, but in our case we don't delete it. Okay, let's leave it like this. So this is our derived role, this is our master. This derived role is derived from this master role. Let me go to menu. If you see, the menu also been copied from the master role. Then we go to authorization, change. Now we got all the objects which is coming from the master role. Here also the organization level is blank. So what we do now, we simply fill in this organization levels. Our company code, first organization level is company code 000, warehouse star, the division again 00202, then 04 and 06, sales organization 100, distribution channel which is 10, and the plant is CHP3. Save. But we still have some couple of yellow marks here. It seems you did not copy it from there. So anyway, we put our organization levels. Okay, select, okay, save. We generated our profile. We can change this object's values here, so it's not a, it does not mean it's not allowed, you still allows, but we don't want to change it here because it is supposed to be from the master role. So I'll save this and go to generate. Okay, we need to put a description for this. Our description for our role was display customer and in material master, I believe. Okay, mind, save. I'll go back to my master role. Change. Edit old status. Here everything seems to be fine. This one everything was green, that means this was not generated. So that was, sorry, here this everything is green, but the other side everything is yellow. Okay, let's leave it like that for time being. Let's create the next derived role. Once we finish, then we will fix the issues whatever we have done. The next derived role is like this. This is my master role. Say yes, yes again, text, copy the menu, authorization. Let's go to authorization tab, then I'll go to this option, create an export mode for profile generator. So you wanted to save, yes, then I come here, then let me put the org structure here, 10000200005. okay, 0 warehouse is star, division is 00202 04 and 06. Sales organization, we have two sales organization here, 1020 and 1030. Distribution channel is 12. The 005. See? Okay. Here also it became all yellow. There is something which came up here. It's a different value which I don't know. So I'll just leave it like this. Now I save my derived role, which creates a profile, also generate. Still have a lot of values. So let's go back to my master role and okay, this is my master role. Go to change. Here everything seems to be fine. For example, this change, classification, everything is green, but this value is not populated into the derived role. So whatever the change what you are doing in master role, if you want to transfer or if you wanted to generate the derived role based on the inputs which is available in the master role, then we have an option to generate the derived role. For that, you go to authorization, adjust derived role and generate derived role. Once you generate the derived role, it will give you a warning message or an information saying that you need to have these specific authorization objects. If you do not have these authorization objects, then you cannot do this activity. Okay, I'll say generate. Now it is generated. Show pfcg. Let me go to the derived roles and let me take one of the derived role which we have created. Okay, go to authorization, display authorization. If you see, after I generate the derived role, this became green. All the values which was in the master role is populated here. The point which I am trying to make here, that if you are using this concept that all the changes which you do should be done in the master role. We can also do the changes here, but it is recommended that you do all the changes in one central place so that you don't create an inconsistency between these roles. So whatever you change the master role and generate the derived role which will push the changes to master role. Okay, now let's go a little further. We have still some yellow marks which we missed out. Yeah, we assumed it's missed out. Okay, still we need to fix this one. So let's fix it again. Let's go to our master role. So open it here. So we found the yellow which is coming from where? This is the one. Let's fix all the yellow issues here. Okay, so now it looks everything fine. Generate. Okay, I have all the authorization and generate. Okay, now it is generated. Now if I go to the derived role, authorization, go to the display, everything is fine, but still this 2 is left out. One activity missing, another role, something else is missing. I don't know whether it's coming from our master role. Let's check it again. Or maybe a generation problem. Yep, it's coming from the here. 03. Actually we have 2. You can simply delete 1. Here also this is missing. Okay, so we'll say save, generate. Okay, now I generated. Now everything is green if the derived role is perfect now. So as I said, that we can also change the values in derived roles. Yeah, for example, let me go here, let me do some changes. Okay, so any value which you input directly here, which will not be changed by the awk level set changes, which we know already, which we have seen in one of our previous session. The same like here, that if you do any changes here, that will have an impact. Say I add manual, one more, display change, save. This also give you an warning. Okay, now this warning is very reasonable. When adjusting the derived role, authorization value is overwritten. Yeah, so let me change the value, now save and generate. Okay, this is our derived role. Let me go to my master role again, change, old status. I will go to the reason why I'm going to the expert mode. If you go to expert mode, edit old status is not going to do any changes in this profile. Yeah, based on the menu, it will not make any adjustment, so it's very safe this way. So I will say generate, say okay, generate it. Let me, so now let's go to the derived role and check what happened to the object which we have added manually. Authorization, display data, CFI. So we added something here which is 2000, which is again gone. This is overwritten by the master role. So anyway, since it is coming from the derived role, all the changes whatever you do in the master role will be overwritten. That was the warning message it gave here. Go to the change. Let me go back and read that one, then it's quite clear. See, when you adjust the derived role, the authorization value is overwritten. Okay, that means whenever you adjust the derived role with some value, it will be overwritten by the master role. So the best way in this master role derived role concept is that do not change anything in the derived role. Now you can understand what is the main difference between the individual role and the master role and derived role. Let's assume in your scenario, in your implementation, that you have maybe 3-4 company codes which has multiple plants, some 50-60 plants. Then you need to create role for each plant. Then you need to duplicate this role in our first concept 50 times. In our second way of doing it, that we will do it only once, we will only change the derived roles. Now once we created, we went live, now the maintenance part comes. So I wanted to add an additional transaction code to the role which is called info display. In our first scenario, that you will be doing 50 times. You have to go to each and every role, go to PFCG and change, you will add 50 times. Say for example here, you will go here, and say go to PFCG, change that the transaction code which I want to add is SU53. Let's say support is a menu. Inside support I wanted to add SU53. Assign transaction, so in it's assigned, you go to authorization, change yes, have an additional value which is user group. I'll put star, save. Okay, so it added couple of other things which I say actually if you see in this authorization object it added s underscore develop. This is actually not required for SU53. S underscore is purely for development. The activity 03 is to check the development object, a program or something. So in our SU53 we may not require it. So but still it's added. If you want to disable it, you can simply disable this. Okay. Session class. Okay, this is again coming from the menu. This also again coming from the menu, which is not related to SU53. Okay, anyway, never mind. So we have added this objects, say save and generate. So you have to do this 50 times, that if you have a 50 different plans. Now let's go to the second scenario. Let me go to my master role. I'll simply go to the master role and let's assume I have 50 derived roles for this. Go to the change mode. Go to authorization object. Sorry. I'll go to menu. Then add support. Add the transaction SU53. Go to authorization. I'll go to second option now. Say yes, I wanted to save. I will use this, read the old status and merge with new. Okay, I will leave everything blank. Save. Here I have couple of yellow marks. Say okay. This is for User Master. That's fine. This which I do not want this. This is again coming from the role option. I simply delete it. I don't want. Rest everything seems to be fine. There's something new here. Let's see what is this new. Okay, this got added. Okay, fine. Here is something new. This one is coming new. Okay, this rod volt. Okay, So I've told everything, added SU53. Once I done everything is perfectly fine, I'll go to authorization, adjust derive role and generate derive roles. Now if you can see the status bar, then you will find the messages it's creating the derive role. That is quite useful to see the progress of the derive roles, because if you are generating the derive role for 100 200 roles in one time, then that is the only information you have to see whether it is running or not. Because if you go to the system, go to SM51 and see the work process, it will show it's running, but you are quite not sure in what stage. Then that will be the best way to find to what level the derive role is executed. Say okay, say generate, and you can see the derive role is getting generated. Derive role is got generated. Let me go to my derive role. Authorization, if I go to the menu, you can see the menu is got added. Authorization object, respectively everything got added. So we have a new authorization object called authorization group, which anyway we need to define. That we will define. Go to change mode. Okay, go to organization levels. Here we will define our new user group. Super. So what we need to do is we need to only assign the organization level in the derived roles, because since the transaction code which we added has a new organization level which is not defined in the derived roles. If let's say the organization levels which is used in the new transaction code, which is from one of these organization level or some couple of these organization levels, then we don't need to do this activity at all. Okay. So now you think how much time and efforts we have saved by using the master role and derive role concept. So the advantage in this master role and derive role concept, that you can have a standard authorization approach across different organization units or business units or different companies. Then it reduces lot of efforts. On top of it, you are very clear, you have a well defined authorization concept across the organization. That is the biggest advantage in the master role and derive role, and it will help you in the long run if you are having a very big organization, or if your organization a growing organization, that frequently you will be adding additional company codes or additional plans. Then this is the best way to do it, because you don't need to reinvent the whole authorization concept whenever you have a new company code or a new plan is getting added. Now let's see what is the advantage in our first concept. In our first concept, let's say I'll go back to this role. Now this role we defined it for display purpose only, but let's assume I created this one for a job function, for to do something. Okay, so then I'll go to this authorization data, then I have one FI document. Let's go to this authorization object. Let's say I have a role which is created for some purpose. Then I wanted to have display authorization for company code 1000, and I want to have change authorization for for company code 1, company code 2000, and I wanted to have create authorization for company code 3000. Then here it's quite easy. Say I go to manually add 2 times my object. And what I will do here, I will say here change for the company code 2000, create authorization for the company code 3000. Very simple. So this user have authorization for this specific object display only for company code 1000, 2000 and 3000. For 2000 he have change authorization, for 3000 he or she have create authorization. This is very easy in this concept to have diversified authorization object within this role. But if you go to the master role and derived role concept, you cannot do that, because the derived role brings your organization values from the organization levels, which is defined here. Here, even though we defined the company code 1000, you can also have additional company code which is defined in the role itself, which will not override this company code whenever you do any changes. For example, if I put here star and save, the company code here it is saved because it is coming from this organization level values that we can say okay, it's a global value, yeah, kind of global value. Then it's coming from here, since it has become star, and this is an explicit value which we have added, which does not have any impact. But in our master role and derived role concept, if I add an additional object, add a different company code, you have seen when I go back to the master role and generate it, that will be overwritten. All the objects will be overwritten. Same like the master role. We invite you to join this course and benefit from this SAP security course, and good luck.